Hi. um, Give me a minute. I thought I had this all taken care of with YouTube. Clearly, they are not. Hang on just a moment. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get this to work. Hey there. Can you guys see me? Can you comment and let me know that you're seeing this? Because I'm not sure if you can hear me or if you can see me. And let's see if I can actually access the comments. Sorry, guys. Hey, Esther's daughter, thanks for joining me. You see me. Now the question is, can you hear me? Because last time this happened, there was no sound. Happy Saturday, everybody. I thought I had this down with YouTube, but clearly not. All right, getting some notifications in here. Okay. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Natasha. Thank you for joining me. YouTube has decided to mess with me once again, so you'll see my garden behind me. It's a little warm. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to my weekly live chat. I actually updated it this week to Saturday instead of Thursday. Good morning, because it was the day before 4th of July. There was a lot going on, and I wanted to be able to go live outside in my garden. Veronica says, happy Catter Day. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask during my live chat. If I don't see it, I apologize. I will try to answer your questions. For those of you just joining me for the first time, welcome. For those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. I chose to do 9:30 this morning because it was really, really hot at 5 o'clock, but it's really, really hot now. It's muggy today. We had a tiny, tiny bit of rain yesterday, and it just made for a little mini sauna out here. Hey, Diane, thanks for joining me. There's a thumbs up button for the video. It's not really a like Facebook. Sorry about that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It is an absolutely beautiful day out. We've got some wild sunflowers. Somebody asked me about those the other day. I've got some cucumbers right there. I've got, lemon basil right there, which I'm actually drinking my lemon basil tea this morning. It is hot though. Alrighty, so during my weekly live chats on Facebook, which is on Wednesdays, I discuss specific seed varieties. And then during my live chat on YouTube, I like to share varieties about, not varieties, I like to share information about growing, about gardening. David says, just got back from building more raised beds, so I know hot and humid, it really is hot and humid. I'm drinking my basil tea. It's really, really good. It's refreshing. So during my YouTube live chats, I also like to answer questions or mention questions that came up with customers. Sorry, there's a wasp. Throughout the week. One super common question I got this week, because a lot of you have had so much rain in your gardens, was blossom end rot. What do I do to fix blossom end rot? What do I do to hopefully stop it from happening or fix the problem? Blossom end rot is caused by a lack of calcium, and a lot of times the reason that happens is because the plant has so much water that it's not able to uptake that calcium into the plant from the soil. So there's two different factors there. And so I recommend using something called calcium and magnesium. I actually linked it in the description of this video specifically because I knew I was going to be talking about it. It's something that when we have a lot of rain here and our gardens get washed out, I'm talking like we had 6 inches of rain in one day. Some people have more or less. So thank you, Veronica. It is definitely a beautiful day. So I use calcium and magnesium powder. I mix it in water and then I apply it to each of my tomato plants. So that is one of the things that I do. Natasha, that's right. You are adding calcium and magnesium to your tomatoes today. You are one of like 5 people that reached out to me. And I want to say this too. Adding eggshells to your garden soil is not going to fix blossom end rot if you have a problem right now. Adding calcium to your soil, it has to break down into your soil for it to be available for your plants. So you're better off taking those crushed eggshells and putting it in your compost and then using that compost in your soil for next year. Because eggshells are going to take from your soil as it breaks down. So it's a process. Composting takes time, and then once it's broken down, it's organic material, organic matter that can be added to your soil to feed your plants the next season or the next year. So yes, adding eggshells is good, but it's not going to fix blossom end rot right now. And I've got a lot of people go, oh, I just put eggshells in my garden and I don't ever have a problem. That's awesome, but it's not going to fix the problem right now. And that was something that I discussed during the soil, building healthy soil, and also something I discussed when I was doing the intensive planting and plant spacing. Someone was like, oh, I use eggshells. Well, that's great. But it's not going to fix it right now. So if you are having that problem right now, a liquid soil amendment or a liquid fertilizer that's calcium and magnesium will help. It will not fix or cure the tomatoes that already have blossom end rot, but it can help the plant for future. And I am in the sun now because the sun just came out from the clouds. It is hot out here, and I purposely chose this side because I was in the shade and now I'm not. So I'm going to try and move around really quick if you don't mind. You can come with me. Take my bucket with me and just move a little bit over here. You can still see the garden, but now I'm not in the sun. I love the sun. It's great, but it's hard on me right now. There we go. Much better. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. That was one of the most common questions I received this week was blossom end rot. And that's, you know, a common problem for some of us that live in areas that get a lot of rain or inconsistent rain. Now, another question I got was about the coconut core bricks. One of the questions, actually a couple people asked if you can use the coconut core bricks we sell as mulch. And there's actually a coconut core mulch. It's chips that you can purchase that is a better option than just the coconut core bricks that we sell. By the way, if you're just joining me, welcome. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ask your questions. If you've got questions while I'm live, definitely ask the questions. The coconut core bricks we sell is a very fine coconut core. So once you rehydrate those bricks, it's a very thin, crumbly coconut core. It's not chunks or chips like you would normally use for mulch. So if it dries out, it gets very crumbly and it can just blow away. So that's why when I use coconut core, I mix it with something. So I mix it in my raised beds. I got a video for improving your soil health, improving compacted soil using coconut core. And it's a fantastic option. But for mulch, you would really need something thicker, something heavier that's not going to blow away. Asia Joe says, sorry you're late, that's okay, come on over. I will be working in my garden in a little bit as well. I'm going to need a hat. I'm going to need way more sunscreen. It is definitely warm out. And I forgot my tea over there, so if you'll give me a second, I'll be right back. You can see my busted bucket that I sit on when I'm live out here. I like to sit on buckets because they're easy and they're cheap, and I leave them in the garden and I don't have to worry about the chairs doing anything. Hang on just a sec. I don't have to worry about the chairs breaking or whatever. This bucket broke already, so I was like, well, I can't use it for water. I could use it as a planter. But so anyway, questions. Anybody else have any questions you want to talk about today? My last live chat, we talked about summer seed planting. And so if you saw some of the garden beds that when I picked up my camera, they look empty. And that's because I pulled out some of the old stuff so I can plant new stuff. For those of you joining me and listening to my live chat today, have you joined my patty pan squash challenge? Anybody? Let's see. Serial Spinner says, what do you think of rice hulls as a soil amendment or as part of a potting mix? That's a great question. I've never used rice hulls as a soil amendment or part of a potting mix. I will say this, you may be better off adding it to your compost than adding it into your potting soil if it's what I'm thinking it is, because any kind of organic matter that hasn't been composted or hasn't been broken down is going to need to break down before it is usable in your soil. So that's a great question, and I'll have to get back to you on specifics on that. Asia says, thinking I need to resow herbs today. It's been hot and they died off. Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. Esther's daughter says, do you think I can plant more patty pan here in Florida? Absolutely. So when I discussed the patty pan squash challenge, I mentioned it last week, but one of my customers said they had never eaten squash before, and I was shocked. So the white scallop squash was what I planted yesterday. I did a little Independence Day seed sowing. And so when I initially moved to this property, the first seeds that I sowed was white scallop squash on July 1st. I was able to harvest patty pan squash, those white scallop squash, in 42 days. So it's hot here. It's 100+ degrees. It's been a little cooler because it was a little overcast, but in general, it's about 93 degrees and the feels like temperature is 103. It's hot and it's humid. So similar to what you might be dealing with in Florida. So I would say, yes, you can plant the patty pan squash right now where you are. Natasha says, I have green tint going, but not the white. Well, that's fine too. It's the patty pan squash challenge. So definitely, I hope those of you are joining us. Asia Joe says, I'm growing the other varieties similar. So kind of the challenge. Totally fine. Honestly, there are several different varieties of patty pan squash. You don't have to do just one. I like the white because it was faster maturing. So that was a really good one. I just added a couple seed varieties back in stock. Caitlin says we are planning to plant our green scallop squash tomorrow. Very cool. Victoria rhubarb was added back in stock. Seed garlic was added back in stock. Maybe I should mention that. Natasha says they just blossomed. I'm going to take pictures. Oh, very cool. Diane, this isn't my typical challenge. It was just more so telling people, like encouraging people to plant something different, especially if you go into the grocery store. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever seen patty pan squash in the grocery store, or at least not in all the colors that we offer. I actually went to our local grocery store this weekend and I saw gray zucchini. They got all kinds of other stuff, the regular black beauty eggplant and all that, but it was definitely one of those varieties that you don't really see a lot of. Serial Spinner says, I just harvested my first white scallop squash from a few years. It's delicious, even raw with dip. Very cool. Yeah, you can definitely eat it raw, especially if you harvest it very young and the outer skin is nice and soft. It's fantastic, either cooked or raw. Esther's daughter says, do you soak the seeds first? You can. So last week during my live chat on YouTube, I mentioned summer seed planting. And one of the tips for summer seed planting, hey Christy, was to soak your seeds first to give them a heads up, and then to water really well. You don't want your soil to dry out, and you don't want your seeds to dry out in this heat. So if you are planting seeds, your best bet is to soak the seeds first and then plant them in the evening time instead of the night time, and make sure you water your soil well. That way it has a chance to sprout before. Let's see. Veronica says, I want to be part of the patty pan challenge. Awesome. Diana says, my spring squash plants are about done, so So I'll be planting more. Very cool. Now, the other question I received was seed garlic. Last week we announced that seed garlic is now available to pre-order. Now, what the heck does that mean? Hey, Alan. So we offer pre-orders of seed garlic, so you can reserve your seed garlic in advance, and then we ship out either late September or early October. Now, my website says October 5th. If I can, if the bulbs are ready, I will be shipping them out a little early, and you'll get a notification immediately in an email when they're ready. But people were asking, which one should I plant? Specifically, which one should I plant in Texas? And then also, of course, we got a lot of Florida customers as well. And then in general, for their area, which one should I plant? So I'll share that information with you as well. If you are in an area that gets cold and gets snow, hardneck varieties are recommended for your area. They do really well in cold climates, but you're going to have to mulch really well. So you plant your seeds, you give it a really heavy layer of mulch so that it can withstand the freezing temperatures and the rain. If you are in a hot climate like Florida or Texas or Southern California where it gets very, very hot, you're going to want to plant soft neck varieties. Now, I should say, in Texas where I'm considered East Texas. I can plant both hardneck and soft neck varieties, and they both do really well here. So when I say this, it's not to say that you can't plant one or you can't plant the other. So if you're in Florida, for example, and you want to plant hardneck variety of garlic, you're going to want to put it in the refrigerator for at least 6 weeks before you plant it outside. That way, it gives the bulbs a chance to go through that natural cold process, similar to cold stratification. It's called vernalization. Hey, Mimi and me, welcome. So you can plant it. It may not do as well, okay? So if you are in an area, like I said, like we are, you can plant the cool tolerant and the warm tolerant varieties here in East Texas. So my hands down absolute favorite one is going to be California early white garlic. And someone asked me, why? What is your favorite and why is it your favorite? California early white is the most forgiving variety. It's the best for beginners. Thank you. Let me know the sound looks good. I appreciate it. So when you put your, David, you're in Florida, you put your garlic in the fridge every year. There you go. California early white is more heat tolerant. It is, I wouldn't necessarily say more pest tolerant, but it's a very easy variety to grow. It's not finicky like some of the other varieties. And unlike hardneck varieties, with a soft neck, you're going to get between 12 and 20 cloves inside your bulb. And so if you don't know the difference, the bulb is the entire head of garlic. If you go to the grocery store and you see the big heads of garlic, that is a bulb. And then inside that bulb, when you start to peel it out, those are cloves. Each one of those cloves is planted to potentially produce a brand new bulb of garlic. Okay? So instead of your hardneck varieties where you get 5 to 8, you'll have more like 12 to 20 cloves, and each of those might produce another head of garlic. So budget wise, the softneck varieties may potentially give you more grown bulbs from the seed garlic that you purchase. I hope that answers your question. Serial Spinner says, in Montana, I have been able to successfully grow both hardneck and softnecks planted deep with a lot of mulch. Perfect. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And so that's why I said it's not necessarily that you have to grow it. It's just that that's what's recommended. But for those of you that know me, I like to break the rules when it comes to some of these gardening things. So I do plant things that aren't necessarily recommended, and it works out really well for me. Let's see. When is the best time to sow Victoria rhubarb seeds in zone 8? So your best bet is to plant them in the fall so that they have a chance to establish, or you can plant seeds in early spring and then transplant them out. Rhubarb is a perennial, and it can grow in the same place for 30 years, depending on how you care for it and your temperature. If it gets too hot, sometimes it won't last as long. And some people say, oh, well, I've had it growing for even longer than that. Some people say that they only grow it for 10 years. So it's going to be different for everybody. But if you're trying to plant it right now, you can try planting it indoors and then transplant out in fall, or you can just direct sow in fall. I do recommend soaking your seeds first. Asia Joe says, I've got some garlic in the fridge. Yeah, so you can, if they're starting to green already, you can plant them out. We don't plant garlic until October here. But that's because we've got a really long growing season, and we don't get our first frost isn't until mid-November. So we've got plenty of time to grow here. Tasha says that's why you're my favorite. Raising Kids and Chicken says, a soft or hard neck store better? Yes. California early white stores very well, up to 5 months. And I think the hard neck varieties are usually about 3 to 4 months. It does sometimes matter because if you grow a lot and you harvest a lot, you may not eat it as fast. But if you're like me, you love garlic and you go through your garlic before it is would go bad. So when you harvest your garlic, you want to cure your garlic. That information can be available on Mary's Heirloom Seeds in the comprehensive planting guide. If you look in the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide. I always recommend that you check that out. There's a section for garlic. It is how to plant it, how to care for it, and how to cure it. So it'll tell you how to cure your garlic, and it really helps. Cereal Spinner says your neighbor gave you hardneck that has been growing for more than 20 years and saving seeds. Well, so that's a good one. You know it's going to grow in your area. That's why I love heirloom varieties, because I know they've been tried and true tested varieties that did really well. So Asia says, my tomatoes have a lot of green but not really seeing any fruit. Cross your fingers that they start to produce. Yeah, it's I've got loads of tomatoes right now, but now it's really hot. So hey, from Mississippi, we are in East Texas, thoroughly enjoying this heat. I'm getting a little overheated out here, so I will need to go inside and take a break before I come back out and do some more work. Yeah, I did a lot of work in the garden this morning. Then cleaned myself up a little bit and came live here so I could chat with you guys today. So in the description section of this video, you'll also find a link to my July seed sale. That's a really good one this year. It's a huge seed sale. I didn't include it, but we also have the July Seeds of the Month. I had a lot of requests to bring back the Seeds of the Month, and instead of doing the club where you order 6 months in advance, I'm doing it monthly. So you can choose if you want to purchase the Seeds of the Month each month. For example, this month, the value of the seeds is $14.75. Scared me to death. Thought something was coming at me. My husband's probably watching this, moderating my video, going, what the heck is going on with that girl? Anyway, I included the Seeds of the Month this month. I think it's like $3 or $4 off instead, so you get 6 different varieties of seeds. Krista says, I have a bunch of flowers on your cucumbers, but no cucumbers. So like squash, cucumbers have both male and female flowers. So check your plant and see if you've got male and female flowers as well, because that's super important. And then also make sure you've got plenty of pollinators. When should carrots go in for fall? In my area, which is East Texas, like I said, our last frost date is November. So I usually plant out late September, and now I'm in the heat again. So I'm gonna have to sign off today because it's just too hot for me out here. And they're clearing the what do you call it? The field behind me. So want to see this? There's so much. This is my jungle. This is my garden jungle today. All right, everybody. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds signing off. If you've got any questions, you can always send an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. Check out the Links down below. And thanks for joining me, and happy planting.